Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you this evening. Very privileged that you make your time to come and listen, to come and learn, to come and understand some of the key things in business. My name is Jonan Kandwanaho, and I'm the Managing Director at Jonaki Holdings Limited. We usually engage here every Friday from 5:30 to 6 for 30 minutes maximum. Jonaki Holdings Limited is an entity that has been running for the last 7 years. It does credit services, or lends money, gives out loans. But also, I, as a managing director, I do coaching and I mentor people in areas of business and their personal growth. So I thought I could give back to the public by sharing every Friday, coming here to share with you from 5:30 to 6. So it's a privilege to see you tune in every Friday to come and listen to insights, because the Lord blesses us so that we can actually bless others. I do this because it's my passion. It's my intention for people to grow financially, and I intend to be doing this as often as I can. So it's a pleasure to have you today. It's a privilege. I've been sharing different topics, so you can look up on the different subjects, for example, debt repayment, categories of loans that you get, whether it's a bad loan or a good loan. I've talked about stewardship, what the Lord has blessed us with, how are we managing it, how are we stewarding it. So it's important that you learn some of the few concepts that you may need in your personal life as well as in business, because no one knows it all, and learning should be a curve, and a curve not on a fall but on a rise. So you should be learning every day. You could be away from your riches, you could be away from your wealth, just because you've not learned one concept that you can apply in your business and you progress. So in this sharing, perhaps you could learn one or two things that could help you step up your business, that could help you progress financially to another level. And the moment that happens, I'll have achieved my goal. That is my intention. If you can learn one concept and you apply it in your business or you apply it in your life, and it works for you and it changes your financial journey, I'll have realized my objective. I'll have achieved my goal. And just like I previously shared with you, I could talk and talk, but if you do not implement, or if you do not apply the principles that I've been sharing with you and the principles that I'm still sharing with you, they will not have an impact on you. They will not. So until you implement them, then they will have an impact on you. So I'd like to share on today's topic, which is integrity and business growth. Integrity and business growth. So if you hear the word integrity, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? Integrity comes from the word integer, which means, integers, 1, 2, 3, whole numbers, which means whole, complete. So when we hear the word integrity, much of our mind goes or shifts to ethical behavior, which is true, but there is more to integrity than the ethics, especially in the area of business. So as I said, integrity comes from the word integer, which means whole, meaning that if you fault on your integrity at an individual level, you're no longer whole. You're not operating wholesomely as the Lord created you. There is something that is wrong. You're not operating at maximum. You're not fully utilizing that which the Lord blessed you with. So integrity starts at an individual level before it transcends to a business level. If you have a business, it has to reflect your integrity as an individual or the owner of the business. Even if you have the staff take on the values of the director, managing director, or the owner of the business. So if the business is doing something you do not expect or something unethical, you know it is a reflection of you as a managing director. Or else you'll have influenced the implementation of the core values with which you set that business with. And even the staff that you recruit have to be aware of how integral your business is, of the core values of the business. I'll give you an example. If you as an individual, if you as a managing director of your business, you recruit from the corridors, you know the person that you have interest in does not qualify for a particular job, but you still promote them, and yet the competent ones, just because you're not perhaps related, or perhaps you do not know them very well, or perhaps you have a question mark on them, that's an integrity issue. And you'll be setting a wrong precedence for the staff that work for you, for the staff that work for that company. Because you're very aware that in that job interview, the other person actually excelled. But just because you know this other person, or perhaps you're related to this other person, you promote them, or you favor them, and you take them on compared to the ones who actually excelled. So when they treat your clients badly, then you start complaining. So when they embezzle the funds from your business, then you start complaining. Not knowing that you as a director, you set a precedence for that incident. So when it comes to the area of integrity, most of the occurrences that happen in our businesses, we contribute towards them. Most of things that concern the integrity and in the day-to-day running of the business. Just like the analogy I shared with you. If you recruited the wrong character, or if you recruited someone and someone actually became aware that, he had failed the interview, but just because you knew them, then you uplifted them. Even if they fail, if they embezzle, whom do you have to complain to? Whom do you have to blame? You should have yourself to blame. And integrity does not necessarily mean that you only apply it when you get to a particular level. You could be in a particular institution, perhaps you're employed, and you know what you're meant to do, but you do contrary to what you're meant to do. You're very aware. The most interesting thing is that as we do these things, we are very aware that what we are doing is contrary to the values of that institution, of that company, of that business. We are very aware. We know it very well that what we are doing is wrong or is contrary to the values of that business, of that company, of that institution. So, if the subordinate falls on their obligations, if the subordinate grows long hands or gets corrupt or even steals from your business, it should be you, the managing director, the owner of the business, to blame. Because had you followed protocol, had you followed the procedures you're meant to follow, you'd have set a good precedence for the employees to follow suit. So if you cannot deliver on integrity at your personal level, in your day-to-day running of a business, then you do not expect your subordinates to do the same. What we do on a day-to-day basis communicates much more than what we say or what we communicate to our people, what we communicate to our workers, what we communicate to our staff. And there's nothing that beats word of mouth in business. Businesses have thrived, fully thrived on referrals. Just because you did the right thing through word of mouth to the person you did that thing to can actually refer you to thousands and thousands of people. I'll give you an example of one of the colleagues I was working with formerly. This person bought a car from a certain bond. And she paid a particular down payment. Then she kept paying every month. So, because she was paying for a long time, she lost track of how much she had paid. She lost track, totally lost track. And then she paid 2 months in excess. It was about 1.5 million actually. But this person realized, the owner of the bond, the one who sold the car to her, and told her, you know what? You have been paying in excess for the last 2 months. And you know what? Here is the amount of money you paid in excess. 1.5 million. It might not look a lot, but this story did a lot of marketing for this guy. As a matter of fact, I bought my first car from this very guy just because this workmate of mine shared that story with me. Who wouldn't wish to deal with someone who has integrity? Who wouldn't wish to do that? So just because the guy gave back the 1.5 million to the rightful owner in all of the values of the company, it benefited him immensely because that was a game changer. The lady went marketing for this guy without any pay. Well, you might think 1.5 is a lot of money, but some people it's not a lot. And even if to you, it might not change your life. But would you imagine how much business that guy would have lost had he not told the buyer that, you know what, you paid in excess? Leave alone the amount, even if you kept it. Do you know the conscience, the cost it would have on his conscience? Can it ever clear on your mind? You know the back of your mind that what you did was wrong. Now, you might not be a believer, or you might not be a Christian, but still your conscience, you'll know that what you're doing is wrong. And your conscience has no price. Your conscience has no price. And colleagues, if we intend to grow our businesses, to stand generations, to transcend generations, then we have to be accountable, we have to be integral at our personal levels, but also set precedence for the company, for the staff that we employ. For the staff that we employ. And in one way or the other, if we fault on our integrity in the day-to-day running of the business, even at our workplaces. It will have a trickle-down effect, even on our businesses as well, on our individual lives. It might not be theft, but it might be in another area. It might be in your outputs. You're very aware you have particular outputs that you're meant to deliver on in a particular quarter or in a particular month. But you forfeit delivering on such outputs. How do you explain that? You might think integrity is stealing company resources, company money, embezzling. No. It covers all aspects of life. And it's as small as a drop of water in an ocean that can change the game. If you fault on your obligation as an individual, then what do you expect of your subordinates? What do you expect of others? Because actions speak louder than words. So before the Lord entrusts us with our businesses, for those who haven't perhaps launched out to the business world to have their own running entities, we have to be accountable at our levels where we are working. Integrity is what you do even when people are not watching. Even when no one is following you up, what? Do you deliver on what you're meant to deliver on? Do you do what you're meant to do? Because that will reflect on your deliveries, on your outputs. So we need to ask ourselves, whether we are employed somewhere, whether we have our own businesses, do we do things in their rightful way? If you're presented with an option of defaulting on a tax, you could get along. You default on a tax, maybe filing your returns, and you can easily get along, and no one will know. But at the back of your mind, do you know the impact it has on your conscience? Do you know what precedents you're setting for your business, for its growth or continuity? Because time might come when perhaps you've franchised out your business to another person, and you're presenting your books of accounts, a business will thrive very well on inheriting the business. Just because you're doing some funny things, you see someone a puppet, something that was not thriving very well. But just because you're faulting on your revenue, you're faulting on the revenue to the government, that's why the company was making profits. And you set a wrong foundation. So the new entrant might find it very difficult, and he'll blame it on you because you set a wrong precedence. So colleagues, as I share with you today, one key thing we should know is that integrity is a foundation on which our personal lives and even our businesses are built. So if our foundations are sandy, if our foundations are shaky, what befalls the whole company? What befalls you as an individual? Let's not make transactions as if the business is going to close tomorrow. There is more to life than that small check that you're going to get that instant. There is more to life than that particular amount of money you want to fold on. There is more to life. Guys, if you have to thrive in business, we have to think legacy. We have to think continuity. Even after your departure. Because we have finite period of time on this earth. Very finite. If you live the longest, you live maybe for 140 years. But what happens thereafter? And if you had built your business on a shaky foundation, will it thrive maybe 1, 2, or 3 years from then? If your business was thriving on kickbacks all through, and maybe after your departure, God forbid, a person who takes it over does not follow suit, it will collapse. But if you had built it on a strong foundation, on a strong integral point of view, it would have stood the test of time. Guys, if we have businesses, if we have companies, the only thing that we can do for our children and our children's children, because you can leave them with the land and they perhaps would sell them. They would even sell the apartments that you've built. But to me, according to my understanding, if you have a fully established entity with fully established structures, running on the principles of the core values with which you establish that business, that could feed your family, that could feed your children, your children's children for generations to come. And that is not built in one day. It is just like a drop in an ocean. The time you refuse that kickback, the time you refuse to oil the bigs here and there, that you're building the foundation that will stand the test of time. You're either consciously or unconsciously building a foundation that will support your entity to stand the test of time. As you're following the procedures established in the recruitment manual, you're establishing a foundation, you're setting a precedence that will stand the test of time, whether consciously or unconsciously. And these are some of the principles that we have to establish in our businesses, however small they are, so that even when they grow, they have where to lean. They have fully established foundations, and they can ably stand the test of time, and they can stand continuity in the different generations. Because you can imagine if, like our goal, Jonah-Key Holdings Limited, we intend to transition to a microfinance institution and then to a bank. Now you can imagine if I left this institution for generations to come, when I'm gone, just a small percentage of the amount of money that the business makes might not even, the children might not even finish it, even if they're extravagant. My great-grandchildren might not perhaps finish it. So what inheritance can beat that? And more so, the integrity on which that institution is built. The legacy. Children would want to identify with you, that was my dad. You just mentioned the name of the father and you're sorted. Or you're a son of so-and-so. What more can you leave with your children? What more can you leave with your children? Guys, we think short term. That's a challenge. And on things that might not even change our lives. If you gave me a kickback of 150 million or 100 million, it might not do much given the years I'm going to live. You've seen people who have retired and the package is maybe 200 million or 500 million. By the time the year rolls, money is gone. So might think this is a lot of money. It might look big, but internalizing it, for how long will it run you? For how long will it run you? Not forgetting that people have won lotteries worth maybe millions of dollars. 2, 3, 5 years down the road, broke. Filing for bankruptcy. What of the 50 million? What of the 30 million? To sell your conscience. What of the 15 million? What of the 10? What of the 5? Because things happen. You might say my business is small, when I stabilize, when I get bigger margins is when I'm going to start observing the principle. No, it will be very late. It is like you're building a house. And you say, let me focus on the foundation. Instead of 2 sacks of cement, of 5 sacks of cement, let me just add 3. I will step it up when I'm building the walls and roofing. Won't it be late? Will the foundation be strong to support the whole structure? Will it be strong to support the whole structure? Or even before you complete the structure, it will fall. If you're lucky, it will fall in the night and does not fall on people. And you end up in prison. in addition to losing the building and the costs involved. So guys, let's build our businesses with a strong foundation, knowing that the business I'm building is going to stand a test of time. And that's why the statistic that we have in Uganda of the entities that come up and fall, some of the reasons why entities fail is because of that. To the extent that even someone puts on a receipt, goods once sold are not returnable. What will give me the confidence to buy from you? For example, if my laptop gets a problem and I cannot return it, where will I get the confidence to give you my 5 million to buy that machine? I will not buy it. And you know what? You'll only sell new clients. And how many new clients will come up? How many more new clients will come up? By the time you realize you're out of business, then you start asking yourself, how did I get out of business? I don't know. I think I'm very unlucky. The devil is a liar. No, the devil is not a liar. You're a liar. You set a shaky foundation for your business. You set a wrong foundation for your business. So it doesn't matter the level you're at. It could be a small kiosk. It could be a small business. It could be something small. It could be at your farm. Because you might think you don't have a business, you don't have an entity. I'm sorted, I'm just employed, No, it could be a farm in the village. If you commit to your staff to pay them a particular amount of money, do you pay them that amount of money? Do you pay them in time? Or you're looking for an opportunity to fault on their salaries? You see, my cow died the other day. And even my goats got lost. So, this month, I'm going to chop you 50%. Really? Even when you're very aware that the person is doing his or her best to do or to sustain your farm. So guys, it's a trickle-down effect. It's a trickle-down. There's no around it. And we have to nurture it within ourselves. And it's only then that the Lord will trust us with more. Because integrity is part of faithfulness in our businesses, in our personal lives. If you're faithful in your small business, what will stop God from growing you to another level? What will stop God from growing you to another level? Because He says that if you're faithful with the little, I'll trust you with more. Now, if you can fault on a small entity, how will the Lord bless you with a bigger entity? How will the small one even grow to that level? You want to get to that level. So guys, let's not undermine our business that we run, however small they are. However small they are. Let's not undermine them. Let's do as though we are doing for a big entity, for a multi-billion company. Unless you don't have a vision for your company, unless you don't have a mission for your company, unless you don't have a clear direction, strategic direction for your company, then that's when you have the liberty, you have the luxury to play around. Or else, you don't have any luxury to play around. Approach everything maturely. If it's a matter of certifying your company, certify it. If it's a matter of registering, register it. Because you're building a foundation. You're building a foundation for its growth. Follow the procedure. If it's paying taxes, do that. Because you don't know, just like a story I shared, you don't know how many referrals you'll get just because you're registered. Just because you filed for your taxes rightly. What if you're going to be the next president and they have to check how your company has been performing on taxes? Has it been defaulting on taxes? And they have to check the books of accounts. You see how you can miss out on a greater cause? That's because you faulted at that particular level. When you didn't even think that you'd ever become a president or get to that level or get that business. You might get a contract or a deal worth billions of dollars of money. And just a small niche, just because you faulted at a particular point while you're growing, cuts you off. Who knows the future? Who knows the future? So guys, let's prepare. Let's prepare. for the future. Let's prepare for our company's growth and continuity. Let's prepare, and the time is now, irrespective of the size of the business. And if your entity is already big and you faulted here and there, it's never late. It's now time to take good procedures. It's now time to do rightful things, both at an individual level and also at an institutional level. Colleagues, I see time is fast spent, but I thought it would be pertinent that I share with you, especially guys who have a vision for your businesses, where you're just not passing by, where you want to make a point, where you want to leave a legacy, where you want to have an impact. Let's start it now. Thank you. So my name is Jonan, as I said. I do business coaching and mentorship. You should check out our website. We do money lending and transport, www.jonakiholdingslimited.com. And yes, let's discuss, let's learn from each other, because iron sharpens iron. I thank you, and the good Lord richly bless you. Thank you.